The Doom HELLS Nightmare Controller! Ho ho ho! So, we have this really cool controller from Limited Run Games. We're going to go over some of this cool stuff with this controller. And as you can see, I have another video that came out before this video that does a ultra deep dive on Doom along with the controller itself. So today is no different. We're gonna go deep dives with the controller here. And I think it's kind of important to kind of go over this for everybody, so that way everybody knows. So, this is the one and only rumble controller for the Super NES. Now, I kind of wonder, you know, from what I see is it almost looks like they're trying to implement this for working with other games like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, you know, Super Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, other such games in that, you know, so we have the HELLS Nightmare controller here, okay, and you can tell it's the controller because of it says controller Doom Super NES, and this is what the back will look like. And today's video we're kind of going over everything about this controller, okay? So, some people might notice that the controller doesn't work on every system. I had my friend come over, bring some consoles over. We tried it with his 4-chip Super Nintendo and it didn't work, and we tried it on his Super NES Junior, and still I didn't get no vibration. So I was kind of wondering, you know, what's going on with this, you know. So we did a lot of testing and a lot of stuff. A lot of people online are saying that it works with the Super NT. I have a Super NT Classic. I have not updated it, and it kind of stays in a box and collects dust, you know. It's like something that I bought that I thought, you know, oh, I'm gonna use it one day, but not really, you know, because I only have one and I don't want it to break. So therefore, why would you want to take the chance, right? So obviously I have a Super NT Black back here, and we're going to update the Super NT and see if it works with that, because it doesn't work with the standard Super NT with the standard update, you know, the base update. So the black one is a little bit newer than the classic. The classic one, I think, was the first one of the first ones that I had bought. So here's the controller, okay? So the connector here, this pin over here is the ground, the one that's on the farthest rotated rounded edge there. So that's the ground. And then in here there should be a power. You should have power, ground, and signal all on this, and then these might be feedback to the system. So I would figure that one of these would be power out, and then power in, and then like signal, something like that is usually how it works. So with the controller here, you might notice that not everything is out in the open. So this is the inside of the controller. Okay, so whenever you go back together with this, it's kind of like a puzzle. You kind of lay it like this, and you fit the box in, and you fit both sides in, and then you put this part over it and bolt it up. However, in this situation, this is really, you know, it comes apart real easy. So but one thing that I wanted to go over is I've been talking with Limited Run Games, and Limited Run Games sent me a link to a file and a possible way to maybe update and who to contact about it. So right here is a USB-C port. Now this is built inside of the controller. You won't be able to see this port sticking out whenever you go to use it. So this port here is kind of hidden, and this is used for programming the chip. So say they get it all together and then they program it and it goes to the central little micro chip there that's really small. The rest of these are all like transistors and stuff that are on there, and then these are the touch sensitive pads that you have. And so my other video, I kind of went over all of this with the controller. So as you can see, there's the product number here on the bottom. Here's a date of chipboard that they used, and everything that's kind of shown here. So it makes it pretty easy to decipher everything with this controller because they have everything marked, and it's really easy to test. You can easily test each one of these with a voltmeter and an ohmmeter, you know, to test ohms, you know. So you can actually see that the wiring here is quite simple, and these are quick disconnects right here, and the red is power and the black is ground, and it feeds it back in a loop, you know. And so there's the motor, and then there's the gyro on the end there. Okay, so if your controller doesn't work, you can either A, send it back to Limited Run Games and get a new controller, hopefully. I'm sure they have backup stock, and then ones that don't get sent back, or vice versa, they'll sell online. So, when it comes to this controller here, what some people don't tell you is that there's probably a few that may or may not work. Well, I kind of figured out some of the coding, and we're gonna see if a patch to it actually fixes it. Maybe an update or a patch, or reload the software, and then that way we'll see if it actually works after that. Okay, so I have a 1-chip and a 4-chip Super Nintendo. The 1-chip it will not work with, and I think that's because it's a 1-chip and it's very first production of Super Nintendos. So that one may not work versus the 4-chip. My 4-chip, however, though, I'm working on repairing it. It's real dirty. We're gonna put a custom case on it and all of that and get everything souped up on it. So for those of you that don't understand, there are multiple types of Super Nintendos that were made. Like back here, you can see that Super Nintendo itself was made over several years, and each one that was made, there was the first production was like the 1-chip, and then so forth. They added more chips. So that was to add more graphical, more accessibility, more processing power, etc. Now, this controller here is really cool, and I really want to see it work. Now, I do have sealed ones. This controller goes for like $34.99 from Limited Run Games. However, I would advise you not to buy it from eBay, because most sellers on eBay do not want a return. So it'll say item non-returnable or can't return item, etc. So once they sell it, it's in your hands. And the other problem with eBay is if it doesn't work and you want to use it, then you try sending it back to people on eBay. They don't know what to do. What are they going to do? Turn around and send it back to Limited Run Games? You know? So in that situation, the best idea is to fix it yourself. Yeah. Because I know how people are, and there's really no point. The other main problem with eBay, buying this off of eBay, is that it goes for $300, because it is the only Rumble controller out there for the Super Nintendo. They never made a Rumble controller for the Super Nintendo, not even once. So, This is the very first of its kind, and with that being the case, you might get a few that may or may not work. So there are solutions out there, and I'm going to be probably making another separate video as to find out exactly how to test this 100%, because I'm talking to the designer of this right now. So we're going to kind of do deeper dives. There's going to be other videos on this as well. So he's going to instruct me the easiest way to find out what is not sending signal to the rumble. So we're going to go over some of this today, and then hopefully you'll see what I'm saying. So I would say eBay might be a problem because it costs so much. It was a $34 controller that is now $300 on eBay, and all of mine was bought from Limited Run, and I'm not a type of person that's going to return it to Limited Run because I usually fix stuff that's broken. So this is kind of like a cool little thing for me to do. So we are going to test it on the classic NT without an update, and then we're going to try the black one. The black one comes with additional upgrades. It has some games built in, and it's I'm going to make sure all of mine are fully updated, and we're also going to test it on a 4-chip Super Nintendo and see, does it work? So stick around, let's find out. Okay, so thanks for joining me. We are covering the Limited Run Games controller, and some people might be wondering, well, what's going on with the controller? So Limited Run Games has a open source GitHub link that allows you to see straight from the developers to take a look at how the controller works and some information on the process of the controller. So as you can tell, we're doing some deep dives on the controller. It is a Rumble controller, and I was sent this link from Limited Run Games on how to decode or repair the controller. So this link here is tech.limitedrungames.com. Okay, so as you can see, they got a little thing for grithub. Grithub is pretty much a site where everybody drops files on there for people to download. Open source kind of stuff to help people with programming or stuff. A lot of people use it for like their analogs to get the pictures on there, so they have the console pictures. GitHub has a lot of like cool stuff that people don't know about, and so forth. Here we go. So Limited Run Games Super Nintendo Rumble Tech Controller. It says you can buy it now. Well, I think it's out of production, really. Developer resources here. We're sharing the code so you can add support for the Limited Run Games Rumble Tech Controller to your games. To your games. To your games. Are you listening? So, sharing the code so you can add support to your games. So basically, you might be able to use this Rumble feature on other games for the Super Nintendo. Isn't that pretty cool? Projects and emulators. So it can work with projects and emulators. I wouldn't doubt that we could get this to work with other consoles without any hard work at all. We encourage the community to use this code to improve the gamer's experience when using the Rumble controller. So right here is what you're going to click on. Get the code from GitHub. Okay, so the code is in here. You click on the view. Now, the guy who worked on Doom 2025 for Limited Run Games is Randall, also known as Randy. Lindell or Linden, I don't know, I messed up, whatever. Anyways, so he's a pretty cool guy. Him and a few of the other designers I have messaged, and I will be getting back to them. So as you can see, they've got these files here, and this is the controller, warnings and precautions. Rumble effects are only supported for one controller in port 1. So one controller in the first port. Keep that in mind, people. Now, rumble effects are not compatible with multiplayer adapters. So if you add any kind of adapter, it's not going to work. Hence, the people on Reddit, somebody stated on Reddit that the rumble effect does not work on their extension cable that they have from Hyperkin, and I don't doubt it. You know, it's all about, you know, signal loss and power and all that stuff, and if it's not getting the signal correctly, it's not going to know what to do. So I guess the output signal that you're using activates it, like using the chainsaw, or the item, whatever item you have selected, and certain things. So trying to get the rumble feature, and it says do not enable support for rumble effects on multiple controllers. So I'm trying to understand, what does that exactly mean, because do not enable support for rumble effects on multiple controllers. So that could in sense damage your stuff, you know, is what they're trying to say. The controller itself came with a little piece of paper that said that it could damage stuff. I like that. That's great. Various emulators now support limited run rumble effects for games using our free Rumble technology. Download the latest release build here. So this is a release build for like emulators and stuff for input and stuff using with your computer, is what I would figure is what this is, because this says emulators right here, and then this is whatever. When using Messin, change the input setting and select Super NES Rumble from the port 1 drop down menu. Okay, so Messin, I think, is something that plays Super NES. So the games, various games now have limited run games, rumble effects, so you can feel the action while playing. So it's not just for Doom, you can play this for other games. The reality test, what is that all about? So this ROM allows a variety of rumble effects to be played with the compatible emulator. Download the test ROM here. So that's like to test it on the ROM, I guess. Reality test. Attack of the something robots. I don't know what all this is. So these are some games here that they have that works with the rumble feature. So they have Castlevania, Final Fantasy, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Star Fox, Super Castlevania, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Super Metroid. Could you imagine playing Super Metroid with a rumble effect? I mean, I'd be playing all day. So anyways, there is some information here. Now, this right here, if you go to like README right here, it'll just be a picture and then the warnings and all that. The same thing here, just the picture, the screenshot. So you kind of want to go back. So they kind of have a tear down on the controller and stuff. Let's see, which one are we going with here? Those are all just initial stuff. This has some sort of comment, auto detect file or something. And so usually whenever you download anything, you want to go over to where it says raw, and right here it says download raw file with the download button emblem or whatever. So you know, I just try to go over this with you guys so that way you guys know. So this one here says fix calculated rumble wave. So that's kind of what we're having problems with. As you can see, there is some source code here, and it's very vague. There's apparently individual download sheets here. So right here is a download, or or something. It seems to expand it, I guess. So it expands the file so you can see everything, and it kind of just, there's different stuff on here. So add Rumble Tech PDF document. So this is kind of important right here. This is the PDF that you should take a look at. Now, I don't know if this is going to open on here. This may not open as far as it goes, which I actually have it on my computer to look at, and I should show you. I thought it was kind of important to show you, and I can't show you there. So here is a source code that has player A, RAM A, Rumble A, Rumble I. So this is like a whole bunch of stuff. The initial source, and so some of this stuff is actually kind of important. This is what you're going to need to know whenever it comes to messing with any of this, okay? So I wouldn't suggest you just grab and drag and drop anything until after I have fully tested each individual port for power, ground, signal, okay? I would make sure that everything actually has proper resistance and proper voltage being supplied to get the correct signal. Who knows if their cable is correctly pinned, or if the pin is not all the way in there, you know what I'm saying? So some of this stuff can be pretty important. Okay, so this right here is the Project Reality, and I don't understand why he typed all of this, but this could be, looks like DOS kind of coding. And as you can see, there's a lot listed here. I think one thing that was kind of important to me that I had seen originally on the coding is that it showed you all the ports and how it actually works. So that is something that was important. All of these are for different types of stuff, so that's RAM. This source project that he has here is for pretty much your computer, in my opinion. I don't think it's to patch the controller itself. So I don't know just yet until I hear back from him. So that's what we're going deep into today. A lot of this stuff is pretty important that you guys look into this thoroughly before messing with the controller, because you never know what you're gonna get, okay? And if you put the wrong thing in there, you may be sadly mistaken that you might have deprogrammed your controller. So that's why I'm working with them to try to find out what coding is most important, and all that stuff. So the PDF file is what I really wanted to show you right here. Here it is. So this tells you exactly how the controller works, and this is what you need to know, okay? So the Super NES Rumble controller here, this is your actual connector that goes into your Nintendo or into your system. So that's the actual connector for the controller. So port 7, where it's rounded right here, as you can see, the rounded part of the controller, and there's the split down the middle. So port 7 is ground. Okay, so that should be ground. Obviously 6 has something to do with a bit. I would figure that number 3 right here would be power out, power system or something out, clock, VDD. So all of this stuff here is the controller itself and the processes of the controller. Now this is how they kind of set the Rumble configuration data. So as you can see, 1 through 8 is binary code, basically. ones and zeros. And then here is rumble data, R3 through L0. Okay, so that kind of takes it back. That's how they kind of set up the actual configuration for it to work. Now, the description, they have a lot of information here on the controller and how it works. And when the POS, which is PS, I mean not POS, I was gonna say POS though, outline goes high and then low, you should clear the 16-bit shift register. So like I'm saying, theory and operation is what they have here. After each strobe of the clock line, the hardware should shift the data bit into 16-bit shift register. So there's a lot of information that they put in here that's important for those people that get into this sort of thing. And that's the end of their basics of how this works. So we're going to do some testing and see. I've tested power to the motors. I've made sure that it does have signal and ground going to the controller, so that all does work. We're gonna try the Super NT and the Super NT Black, see if there's any difference there. I don't think there really is. I'm gonna update the Super NT and see, does that work? A lot of people online are saying that the Super NT does work, and I could have, you know, a bad processor, or it could be the data could be wiped. So I would say that this video here is part 2 of a part 3 video, because my next video on this is going to be how to update your controller to get it to work if there is if it's lost configuration, or if it's say the actual program on there is corrupt. How to wipe it, how to install the program would be pretty important for those people. Now Randall here is a pretty good guy. There are ways to get a hold of him. He has you know, other ways. It says he's out of Seattle, Washington. These are some of the games that he's worked on and programmed and worked with. And so there's other ways to, you know, get a hold of him. He's got a few ways you can actually message him and stuff, and I'm not saying that, you know, that's something you should do, you know, but, you know, I'm just letting you know there are other people that worked on the project that you could also message if you had some questions. So some of this stuff is from what I see for the source code stuff that they put out on this page here, that you would be clicking on and downloading. Like, see, you can download the PDF file right here. Downloading all of this can be helpful, but this almost seems more like it's made to work on your computer for your ROMs more or less than fixing the controller. So I need to know which one of these codes, which one of these files would actually work for updating, you know, the controller. You would figure it would have something to do with maybe this, the source right here, but you want to make sure that you get the right file. So it's obviously not the README, it's obviously not the grithubs, the initial comment. It's obviously, I wouldn't think add rumble controller image, that's just an image. These are all just added stuff. And then right here, binaries makes me wonder. And the source is kind of like kind of what I'm interested in. So this is source code here, and this may have something to do with, you know, you would use this with your emulator on your computer more or less. I don't foresee this as being part of the program inside that chip, but who knows, it could be. We're gonna do deeper dives on this, so let's get to game testing, and I'll see ya on that game test. Okay, so I originally decided to just go ahead and kill this while I can, okay? So here's 2 boxes, okay? Now, here's what's really crazy. I went ahead and opened up the other box, and I said, forget this. The controller does not work with any of the other systems. Let's try the other controller. So guess what I did? I went ahead and cut that damn thing. And I'm just going to show you real quick. Alright. Here's the controller. I plugged this in and it worked right away. It worked on my Nintendo. It even worked on one of my other systems, and it worked on the Super NT. But there's something really strange here. Get ready, here's the little secret. So when I took this controller out, there's no paper in there. There's no paper. See what I'm saying? No paper. But wait a minute. With this one here came a paper. That one didn't come with a paper at all, but this one here came with the paper. So why did this one here come with the paper? Is that because it failed testing? That it failed testing and that possibly they had to fix it to get it to work? Or that it just failed testing and they shipped it anyways? This one right here came with a paper. This one did not come with a paper at all. As soon as I opened the box, I noticed that. Just thought I'd share that with you. That's fucked up. Check out the video. Okay, here we go again, everybody. Oh, well. That looked a little bit different and didn't seem too messed up like the original. Strange. So, we're testing out that controller to see, does it work? So, let's just go straight on in to Hurt Me Plenty. Knee Deep of the Dead. Okay, so the game looks really, really small to start. And we have Rumble on. And as you can see, still no rumble. Let's just kind of see here. So we're testing it on the classic Super NT and without updates, and we have vibration now. Guess what? Just so you guys know, I opened the other controller. So we do have a bad controller. After hours and hours of testing, people, I'm very, very upset. Okay, right now we're playing on the Super NT, and I got vibration there. Vibration. And it's vibrating right now. And so forth, there it is. Well, just so everybody knows, I opened the other limited run games box. I didn't want to do it. I'm kind of upset that I did. But we have a bad controller. Something's wrong with the other controller. Yeah, that's just how it is. What a world I live in. What a world. I was gonna show how it vibrates, but I just wanted to do a quick video. Thank you guys for stopping in. The controller that I opened does work. It's just, you know, apparently I've been got, you know. I've been got. So yeah. Every once in a while in life you're gonna get got, you know. so we've got vibration with the controller on the Super NT, and I'm using the one that I opened. And I wasn't gonna say it. Now I'm pretty upset. So, yeah, I need to find out why that controller doesn't work. All the buttons work on it. It just has no vibration. So, the other controller does work. That's why you buy 2 or you buy 4, because you're guaranteed to have 1 work in there. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. My next video on the controller will be how to maybe fix it or patch it or update it as soon as one of the game designers and controller designers get back to me. I would rather have a talk with them before I go jumping in there. When I plug in with my computer, I can only see a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to go in there and change some sort of setting or add a line in there and mess something up. So we'll see. We shall see. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Subscribe. Talk to you on the next one.
Click on Zombie Apocalypse.